Oh, the door. Oh, the door. I wonder if I can just turn the camera so I don't have to go shut the door. Oh, I can. Hello. Hello. No. Oh. I've got to be quick. I'm going out, aren't I? Okay, this is heavily requested and I keep putting it off because I wouldn't want to watch this video. But I keep getting asked for it, so I should really just do the video, shouldn't I? It's all about my favourite books that I've read. It's no secret that I am a bloody nerd when it comes to self-help books, spirituality. I struggled. Every time I put on a little bit of makeup, I swear I dribble. Oh, did you hear my neck click then? Hello. It's the next day. It's the next day and I finished work. The reason I obviously need to charge my camera. So, bloody books. So this is, I keep a list for everything if you don't know. This is, I've read more books than this, but these are like the ones that I thought I had a mark on my face then, but it's a mark on my camera screen. Oh no, it is on my face. Oh, spot probably. These are all the books that I have read or would like to read. Or I would go through my top ones. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm very good at ruining books. Because I remember everything and I like say all the key parts and I could be here for bloody hours. If you are after, let's categorize it. If you are after books around diet, when I talk about diet, I mean like around nutrition. So like what you should be eating and like factually like nutritional books, then I would recommend The Energy Plan. That's a great one. I believe it was written by a doctor or a sports nutritionist or something or someone. Written by a professional that basically has written this book and says that if you follow this, this is the best for energy. So how he writes it is just really interesting because it is basically like an athlete might fuel himself to go and spend X amount of time on the track, but you may need to fuel yourself to go into the office and to go into like a whole day of like really important meetings. So it's about like looking at yourself and treating your body as if how like similar to how an athlete would. Fix your mood with food is another one. That's a bit more like, how do I describe it? A bit more like listy of how foods affect you and stuff. The Adrenal Fatigue Diet. This is one that I would really recommend to anyone that always feels exhausted. Adrenal fatigue is like constant exhaustion. Anyone like parents and people like that are constantly busy. If you have like a really stressed in work, this can be a really good one for you. If you're just always feeling like pretty knackered, that's also another good one. And if you are trying to get your period back, this is a good one because it helps you understand a bit about how food affects you and the importance of it. A really good one is Exhausted to Energized. That's again along similar vibes to the other ones that I've spoken about. I'll leave all the links down below. Then you have the more like, how do I describe it? Breaking free from diet culture ones. One of my favourites is Body Positive Power. Really dives deep into like the history of where dieting came from and how we probably grew up around a lot of toxic dieting messages and stuff and we didn't even know about it. And they're basically calling all of that out. Oh my god, yeah. I did get told growing up you don't need any more to eat, so subconsciously that might be telling yourself that you're not in control of how much you need to eat. It's really interesting some of the stuff they said. Goddess Revolution, that's another great one, and that is all about kind of like stepping into your power and breaking away from feeling not good enough and breaking away from dieting and feeling shit about yourself and not having the confidence in yourself. Another one is Intuitive Eating by Evelyn or something. That's all about the intuitive eating movement. Very much teach you the habits of how to really become back in tune with your body, and that's what I really needed to learn about how to eventually intuitively eat, which I think is kind of like the goal for everyone, right? You want to just be able to intuitively eat. Whoa, that's right outside. You want to be able to intuitively eat and remain healthy and confident, right? On the lines of like body changing and dieting, Rena McGregor, who's my dietitian that I work with, she also wrote a book called Orthorexia. That was mind blowing. It's a bit more of a technical read. It's not like a story or anything like that. It's very factual. But orthorexia, if you don't know, is like a newly developed eating disorder, if you like. One that has only just been classified as the obsession to being healthy, and that's, I would argue, it's probably what I suffered with. I didn't want to eat anything that was unhealthy. He had some elements of orthorexia, and that was just kind of amazing to read, to be like, oh, I've got a problem. this isn't right how I'm thinking, because previously, before that, I was like, oh, magpie. I was thinking, yeah, I'm obsessed with being healthy, but it's healthy, so obviously it's good. And then I read this book and I was like, hey, maybe not. Okay, now I'm going to rattle off some really good basic mindset ones. So I always tell people to start with You're a Badass. This was one of the first self-growth books that I read, and it's a really, really simple way to getting into spirituality. It's not really, it's a little bit spiritual, but it's more like mindset-y, and it's a really good one to start with. I would also recommend starting off with How Self-Love is the Way to Good Times and a Good Vibe. That's a really popular one going around at the minute. I would really recommend that one. That's a really good one to start with. Books like self-growth are really important that you can like resonate and really connect with them. I started off with You're a Badass, and then I moved on to You're a Badass at Making Money. So You're a Badass at Making Money is obviously a great one to read if you are wanting to welcome more money into your life. God, there's so many. Should we stay on spirituality? Because You're a Badass is probably a little bit more spiritual. Then my ultimate favourite spiritual one is The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein. She is flipping incredible. She's like one of my favourite. If I was having, you know that question where you ask people if you could invite people to a dinner party, who would it be? 100% her. I think she's wicked. And she has written a few books. She has written The Universe Has Your Back, Super Attractor, and Judgment Detox. She might have written some others, but those are the three that I've read. Definitely, if you're like already very open-minded about spirituality, and you very much like, you basically believe in it, but you'd like to know more, The Universe Has Your Back is amazing. I love it. I recommended that one to Zoe, and my best friend, and like we're all, it's so good. If you've read that one, then you can look at like Super Attractor, which is like a level up of that, and that's all about manifestation. Super Attractor is all about manifestation. The Universe Has Your Back is all about like trusting the universe and why you should trust the universe, and connecting to the universe and that kind of thing. God, I can get so into this. Oh, you know the You're a Badass one? She also wrote another one called You're a Badass Every Day, which I think is like a daily task one. That's really good if you want to follow something every single day. Any more spiritual? Emma Mumford is a blogger. She used to run a coupon queen website, sold that, and has like found her spiritual path and has gone down that route. And she has written a book called Spiritual Queen, called Spiritual Queen, and that very much talks about like her journey into spirituality and changing your mindset as well. That's another great spiritual one. Raise Your Vibration by Kyle Gray, another great one. Rise Sister Rise, oh my gosh. So this one, if you feel, this whole video is just all over the place, isn't it? I'm just rambling. Rise Sister Rise is a great book if you feel, so from my background, I very much suppress my feminine. I am very much living my masculine of like go, achieve this, do that. And I very much suppressed my feminine for so long, and that would kind of show because I didn't have a period for 2 years. It's kind of manifested in that way. And Rise Sister Rise is all about stepping into your feminine and getting all like the girls around you and really celebrating being women. And it talks about like the history of why women were suppressed and seen as like the weaker sex. It's such a good book. I would really, really recommend that one, especially if you're from a background from me and you're also into spirituality. Rise Sister Rise is amazing. Oh, You're a Goddess is another one that's similar to that. That's a really good one as well. Wishes Fulfilled by Dyer is another really good spiritual one. I'll stop because I'll just keep going on and on. I'll say one more. If you are into the moons and looking at like, if you're quite into star signs or wanted to explore a bit more about how the moons work and like new moons and full moon, like new moon manifestations and like full moons and letting go and how the star signs all work, I would really recommend Lunar Living. That is a really nice one. And then we've got like a bit more of like the hardcore like mindset ones, which I would recommend to anyone. I wouldn't necessarily say they were like more female led or like spirituality. These are just like these ones I'm gonna say I would recommend to everyone because they probably changed my life in some way or another. The Life Changing Magic of Not Giving Up. Off the back of that, I would then go and read The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up. The Life Changing Magic is written by a female. The Subtle Art is written by a guy, Ryan Holiday. He is an incredible author and he's written a few, and I have read The Obstacle is the Way and Ego is Enemy from him. Yeah, so Ryan Holiday is an amazing author, and I have read The Obstacle is the Way, which is all about how everyone kind of has these obstacles that are in their way of achieving what they want to, and a lot of the time it is you, and it's about how to unblock that. And then he's also written Ego is the Enemy, which I'm really into looking at how like we have the ego and the higher self, and the ego is the thing that tries to keep us stagnant and stayed in and stuck in one space without us growing, and it's there to protect us. But the ego is actually our biggest enemy because it stops us doing things out of our comfort zone and being vulnerable and things like that. And then there's vulnerability, which leads me on perfectly to Daring Greatly, which is by Brené Brown. She has also, there's a Netflix documentary about her, but it's all about vulnerability and how being vulnerable and putting yourself out there is, God guys, there's so many books, and how being vulnerable is like so key to self-growth and relationships and stuff like that. The Courage to Be Disliked is another one, especially for all you people pleasers out there. Okay, I'm going to park those there. That is what I would recommend for mindset. Then if you are really wanting like proper period chat ones, there is Period Power and No Period Now What, which I have read. Those both are really good. Period Power is more like a general one around hormones and around your periods. Oh, I'm reading another one at the minute actually that's amazing, called Come As You Are. It's literally what you think it is. The surprising new science that will transform your sex life. Now it's not, and it really, oh my god, it really has completely transformed me. It allows you to get to know the female body and around like your thoughts around sex and around the female body, and like I'm just thinking like, oh my god, so I'm normal, like now I've been thinking that too. So that is an amazing book, and I would recommend every single female needs to read that, because that teaches us all about like the anatomy and like thoughts around sex and what we're taught about sex growing up and things like that. And then Period Power is amazing because it talks us all about our cycle and everything that we need to know all about the hormones and stuff, which we're just not taught about in school. And then if you don't have your period, then there is now No Period Now What as well, which is an amazing one, and it's about that thing. It's huge, but it is really, really good, especially if you're into like, if you're really into like geeking out on the science and stuff, which I love. Other books that I have read that is probably more around like, I don't know if I would argue, they're probably just more around like your happiness, I guess, and that is The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. That's amazing, and if you don't know, I'm actually doing a happiness project at the minute. But there's also other books like Out of Order in a Calm, which is all about how to organise your life so you have a better life, basically. There's also Take Control of Your Life. And then finally, because I need to shut up because I've been going for too long, one that I would really recommend, and this is around like relationships, is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It's changed my life. Men think so differently compared to women, and the author, he talks about how like women think, and I'm like, yeah, I do think like that. Yeah, you're bloody right. Then I'm like, oh my god, yeah, guys do that. Yeah, and it has changed my life. So if you haven't read it, get on it. Even if you're single, get on it, because it will just help you in terms of like how you speak to and you deal with like the other men in your life, whether that's like your brothers or your like guy friends or your parents or whatever. Guys, this is a ridiculous video, but those, I would say, there are some others on here, but I'll be here for bloody ages. They're real top line, but those are the ones that I would really look at. My top tip on how to decide whether to read a book is if they're, like I said, I'll leave all the links all down below, but if there's any particular books that, as I've been talking, have really caught your, really grabbed your attention, go and click them down below. And then I'm a big believer that whatever book you're meant to read will present itself to you at that right time. I don't know about you, but there's been plenty of times that I've gone to read a book and it's just not sitting right. I've put it down, and then a couple of months later I've been like, oh yeah, maybe I'll read that book now, and I've read it and it's just completely resonated with me. Yeah, I am a huge believer that whatever book presents itself to you is exactly what you need. So if there have been any particular titles or anything that caught your attention or something, really look into it, because there might be a message in there, or there might be something in there for you and you might really love it. If there's some that you're just completely ignored, or if you've watched this video and you're like, nah, none of them, you've gone down, you've clicked the links, you've looked at them and you're like, nah, none of them, maybe come back to this video in a few months' time and maybe watch it again, because it might just be that right now none of these books are meant for you, but it might be in a few months that they will do. And that's why I keep a list of all the books that people have said to me. If they say, oh, like Chloe, you'll recommend this, I'll note it down, because I know that if I'm ever meant to read it, it will jump out at me and it will be one of those that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to read that now. Those are all my foodie, self-help, spirituality books. I've tried to keep it really top line and not go into too many detail and not talk about them all, but that was hard. I could have riled off another